Palatka, June 14th, 2018 City Commission meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask if Mr. Randy Johnson, if you would come forward at this time and lead us with the invocation and the pledge. Would everyone please stand for me?
Let us all bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you smile upon this preceding this afternoon. We ask that you give the mayor and the city council great wisdom as they guide over the temporal concerns of this blessed city. We ask this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you, Brother Johnson. I'd just like to mention that Randy Johnson is the former principal at Creekside High School, and also he is the inaugural president of our new chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, which serves the Putnam County area. It's a public service organization, fraternity within this area. So we want to thank you again and welcome you to Putnam County. Moving forward, roll call, please.
Mayor Hill.
Here.
Mr. Borum.
Present.
Mr. Campbell. Mr. McCaskill. Here. Vice Mayor Brown is absent, excused. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from our May 24th meeting?
Mayor, I have not yet distributed those minutes. I apologize.
Sorry. All right, moving forward.
Should have told you.
Moving forward, public recognitions. There's a proclamation. Item 1 of the agenda. Mr. Beaton, you could join me, and along with any family members and also members of the Historic Society that are here today as well, if you want to join me for this presentation. Wherever you want to stand. Is there anyone else who wants to come up and join Mr. Beaton at this time? Take pictures. Oh, okay. We'll take a break so we can take pictures as well.
Come on, George. Past president.
Today is a very special moment for us. We have a resolution number 2018 R51. The resolution of the City Commission of the City of Palatka, Florida, designating Lawrence F. Larry Beaton as the honorary city historian of the City of Palatka, Florida. Whereas Lawrence F. Larry Beaton was born and raised in Palatka, Florida, is the 5th generation Palatka resident and a direct descendant of Robert Raymond Reed, son of the 4th Florida Territorial Governor, for whom Reed Street was named. Whereas Larry Beaton is a charter member of the Putnam County Historical Society and is the current historian for the society, as well as the society's representative of the Black Historic Preservation Board, for which he formerly served as chairperson. Whereas Larry's interest in history was born by listening to stories told by his grandmother, Clara Andrews, the granddaughter of Robert Reed, who lived to be over 100 years old and lived in the first story of his family home during his youth, and who entertained grandchildren with stories of how she remembered Palatka as a young girl. And whereas, having spent his career as a communications officer for the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Larry relishes using his detective skills as a tool when researching and verifying information about Palatka. Over the years, he has produced educational resources, historic content for books and other documents, has been interviewed and quoted by dozens of magazines and other publications on Palatka's history, and has done many presentations on the history of Palatka, locally as well as to other historic preservation organizations in Northeast Florida. And whereas historians research and study the past in order to analyze patterns and present new and useful data for businesses, governments, historical associations, nonprofits, and other organizations, the importance of having accurate historic information grows as the city continues to grow and tackle many difficult conversations. And whereas Larry Beaton is uniquely qualified to be Palatka's city historian, and he has an understanding of the city's cultural history from various unique perspectives, as well as a passion for sharing information about the diverse groups and historical processes that combine the make of the city of Palatka and Putnam County, what they are today. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Palatka, Florida, that Lawrence F. Larry Beaton is hereby designated as the honorary city historian for the City of Palatka, Florida, the gem city of the St. John's, where the river flows north, a city with a rich and colorful history to be celebrated, honored, and maintained for the enjoyment of generations to come. Passed and adopted by the City Commission of Palatka, Florida, this 14th day of June, 2018. Gerald Hill Mayor, Commissioners Mary Lawson Brown, Rufus Borden, Justin Campbell, Tammy McCaskill, Bessie Driggers Clerk, Donald Holmes Attorney. I'll entertain a motion at this point.
So moved. Second.
It's motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Beaton, you are truly our historian.
Oh. Well, I prepared a brief hour and a half summation of the history of Palatka. No, just kidding. I'm honored and humbled by this presentation, and I really appreciate it. And I will continue to do my best to research and share the history of our beautiful community. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have conversations with Mr. Beaton and to take part in any of the events that take place. Your recollection of the history is by far one of the greatest in this community. You got information that surpasses the knowledge of many folks in this community throughout, and that information is always useful to us because you're truly the historian for the Gem City, and we definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks a lot.
Next up is the Memorial K-9 Tango. Chief, would you join me at this time? Also here is Officer Cozio. Today I want each of you to join me as we mourn the loss of one of our K-9 officers, Tango, who passed on Friday, May 11th, as a result of an unexpected medical condition. K-9 Tango was assigned to Officer Cozio and served his community for 2 years. On May 25th, 2018, the Palatka Police Department hosted a memorial service for fallen K-9 Tango. Representatives from the United States War Dog Association and K-9 United attended the service and presented certificates and awards to Officer Cozio. Dr. Dan Phillips and Mary Garcia assisted in the memorial service. The PD would like to give thanks to Dr. Sheldon's Veterinary Hospital for handling the funeral arrangements and expenses. Their support and assistance with proper handling and care of K-9 Tango were truly wonderful. K-9 Tango died being transported to the hospital due to swollen or bloated stomach. It was later determined that his cause of death was due to digestive issues. To him, work was playtime. The Palatka Police Department said in a prepared statement, please join us in remembering K-9 Tango and the service he provided to our community. Rest in peace, Tango. Thank you for your service. Right now, we're going to take a moment of silence for K-9 Tango. Thank you. And Officer Cozio, you know that K-9 Tango was more than just a K-9 officer to you. You're with him every day, and we know it's a difficult time for you, but we definitely want to let you know that on behalf of the city, that our prayers are with you and with the Palatka Police Department at this time. And we definitely want to thank you for the service that you have in this community. And is there anything that you want to say at this time? So we definitely thank you, and we want to thank you for the work that you do as well. Keep it up. So again, let's give it up, Officer Cozio. Commission of 26 years. Ms. Holly Harris, if you would come forward at this time. Post it. There's still time to change your mind. Holly, you have your family here with you?
They're in the back.
With Ms. Harris's family, want to come up and join her at this time?
This one's shy.
Indeed, last year. So. Employee recognition reads as follows. The City of Palatka City Commission hereby expresses our sincere appreciation and award the certificate to Holly Harris, the county clerk, in grateful recognition of 26 years of outstanding performance, productivity, and dedicated public service to the citizens of Palatka. Awarded this 14th day of June 2018, Terrell Hill Mayor Zariah Poston, City Manager, Commissioners Mary Lawson Brown, Rufus Borum, Justin Campbell, and Tammy McCaskill. At this time, we want to make sure that we give you a round of applause for the many years of service. You want to give your speech now or you want to wait? So before then, I want to go. Ms. Becker, is there anything you want to say?
Yes. I just want to thank you for everything that you do. Miss Holly Harris is such a hard worker. She has dedicated 26 years of her life to the city. It's a true testament to her character. She is dedicated, committed, loyal. I'm so thankful to have you as part of our team. Please stay for a little bit longer.
I'm trying.
Please, I don't want to run you off. So.
No.
Anyways, just thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Just to speak very quickly about it, anytime someone can be with an organization this long is a true testament to their endurance. and truly, you have endured a lot. We thank you. Stay as long as you like. We appreciate all the work you've done. The institutional knowledge that you have, we value it. So we appreciate you and thank you so much. Thank you to your family for being with you. 26
Absolutely.
years here in the city of Palatka is a lot. All right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other comments here? Any comments?
Just want to say thank you, Holly.
She's speechless.
And every time I come, she always has a smile. Let me tell you, after 26 years, and still smile and be jolly, it says a lot about who you are. Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is the queen of upstairs. She runs the show. And so, Holly, you still got time. We're good for another 5 or 6, I know. Right? Only 2? We can change your mind.
We probably can talk again.
We definitely appreciate all that you do. And we definitely thank you. And again, thanks to your family for lending up to us. And you can talk a little bit more.
Somebody shaking their head no.
I'd like to also thank Ms. Holly for the time that she's been here and for the time I've worked with you. You're such a beautiful person inside and out, and just appreciate all you've done and all you continue to do. So thank you.
Next up, we got one more. We got a retiree. We missed him last time. We're going to bring him up this time. None other than Mr. Johnny Lewis. So, this is probably the funniest man in the whole city of Palatka. I don't even have to read anything about Mr. Lewis. He has it on his shirt. 16 faithful years of service. He has been, for folks who don't know, he's the guy whose truck is out at 3 o'clock in the morning. You have no clue. But he's by far one of the hardest working, most dedicated men that we had at the city. And you're truly going to be missed. I always give him a little bit of a hard time. But he's also a veteran, and we want to thank you again for your service and for your commitment to this community as a whole. He won't be far away, but we're definitely looking forward to many great years of retirement for you. And, you know, the door's always open for you. We may keep it slightly closed, but it's always open. And so again, Ms. Harriet, thank you for lending it to us. And we can maybe now get on the barbecue grill or something.
Yeah.
I just want to add to that Mr. Lewis is already missed. He's been gone for a couple of weeks now, and I've only worked with you for a few short years, but your work ethic is second to none. Seriously, thank you.
So again, thank you for everything. You want to give us your speech now? And again, thank you guys for being here as well. Support, you're going to be missed. I can tell you for a fact you're going to be missed, and we definitely appreciate all you've done for this community. Thank y'all very much. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Hey, family. Here. So we need to retire in order for y'all to see y'all more at the commission meetings. That's what we need to do. Yeah.
Yes.
I have to watch you speak up on me. I gotta. Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. This is a big.
You got just more RAM in that thing.
Thank y'all, Miss Harriet. You got to keep him in order now. Yeah, that's right. I was wondering if you were going to recognize me.
Got a couple more announcements. Mr. Holmes, you have an announcement for us?
I do. I just wanted to announce to everyone that tomorrow at 10 o'clock, the Interlochen Library is being renamed and dedicated to Private Robert Jenkins, who was a young man from Putnam County, who I think still has a lot of family members residing in the area, and who received the Congressional Medal of Honor in Vietnam for saving the lives of his comrades and giving his own life in the process. We're all hoping for a good turnout out there. He was a Marine, and as I said, died in Vietnam. So the post office is being renamed in his honor and dedicated tomorrow at 10 o'clock in Interlochen. So if you know friends, family, we're hoping to have a good turnout out there. I'm sure some of his family will be out there. If you can make it out there, I think it's a worthwhile event.
And then at 3 o'clock, there's also going to be there's going to be a memorial service for him at the cemetery behind Interlochen High School. And so anyone that can make that as well. It's going to be at the graveside behind Silver Springs Baptist Church Cemetery, 137 Hickory Road. So again, the dedication service is at 10 a.m. at the post office on State Road 20. And at 3 o'clock, there's a memorial service as well. Mr. Jenkins, Jenkins Middle School is named after him. And just as Mr. Holmes said, he's a soldier that dove on a grenade to save his troops. And again, the only Congressional Medal of Honor winner I know from Putnam County. And so, again, a great honor. Also, we've got the Freedom March coming up on June 23rd with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Last year, they gave out over 30,000 pounds of food. This year, they will be having a march starting at 10 a.m. at Triangle Park. The march will start at Jenkins Middle School and go to Triangle Park. There will be a free gospel concert, some other activities of the community organizations there as well. And then on the 24th, we will give free medical, dental, vision, and food distribution at their campsite at 1771 State Road 20, just outside of Johnson Crossroads. And the address is Hawthorne, but it's Johnson for it.
What time does that march start?
It starts at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And it's on the flyers that I presented to you earlier.
Okay.
And so if anyone wants a flyer for those services, it's in the back of the room. Ride Solutions is coordinating rides for people who don't have rides to the event. We just wanted to make sure that information was there. Now we'll move into item 2, public comments. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No action will be taken on topics of discussion. At this time, we've got one speaker card. Anyone wishing to speak during public comment in the back of the room are yellow cards such as this. Please fill those out and bring them up. So again, you're limited to 3 minutes on your public comments. Mr. Best, you're up.
Hello, my name is Mr. Best. I live at 200 Hayes Drive, Interlaken, Florida, 32148. I am a retired civil servant. I served in the job 2 years back. I'm here today because I was brought back to myself through a clubhouse, a psychosocial vocational rehabilitation center. The police department should have their eyes open, ears open. The fire department should have their eyes and ears open. Because they took me 30 years to find out the supplement that I had been paying for all this time was there. And they only go back 3 years. $2,500 a year they give you for your deductibles and out-of-pocket payments for your medical and your medications or whatever you need. Moving right along. The clubhouse. My recovery didn't start until I walked into a psychosocial vocational rehabilitation center where there's people there just like me, just as sick as I was. I was taught, I was tutored how to live. I was 28 years old at the time I had this traumatic brain injury and had diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I didn't know what it was. I closed my eyes and said, okay, I'll be okay. I can cut a broken bone, it goes away. Mental illness is fascinating because everyone else knows something is wrong with you except you. And the people that realize that something's wrong with you, they won't know what to do. And then you go for years, and a lot of us slow down. Didn't save a lot. The other day, there was a man walking intoxicated, laughing around, jumping, and the lady said, he always comes in here like that. I said, something hurt that man a long time ago, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. Mental health is prevalent today. It's serious. We are losing people, our family members, the police officers, the fire departments. You knock on the door, or you go to it, when you run in the building, your life changes. You're not the same person when you come out. Something happens to you, like myself, I woke up 30 days later in the hospital. My life had changed, I had no idea what happened. This is what we're trying to protect each other from. Mental illness, and it's not only us, civil servants, it's everyone. We need some place for people to go with mental illnesses. They take you to clinics, they take you to have you in there for the time they use the insurance stuff. They put you back out into the same environment, and the same environment is 90% of the time is why you got sick the first time. Thank you. We need a mental health clubhouse in Palatka County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Is there anyone else here for public comment? Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Moving on to item 3, which is our consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have items A through L. Are there any items on the consent agenda that you wish to have removed at this time?
Jay.
I'll make a motion that we accept all items excluding J for discussion.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Before we take on item J, I want to make sure I recognize both, again, Mr. Randy Johnson and also Mr. Kenneth Jones from Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated for their program Block Party with the Purpose. Mr. Jones, would you like to come up and at least give a brief explanation of the program? It's already been approved by agenda. Just take a name and address for us.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Kenneth J. Jones. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I am a resident of St. Johns County, 610 Cloister Lane Drive in St. Johns County, 32259. The Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated covers 4 counties in North Florida. Covers Clay County, St. Johns County, Putnam County as well as Flagler County. In these 4 counties, we have an initiative to increase voters' registration and voter awareness of the certain items that are on the ballots coming up this fall. And on June 23rd, in particular, we are having a block party with a purpose here at Hank Bryant Park. And the purpose there is to register folks to vote and make folks aware of certain items that are on the ballot this coming fall, items such as Amendment 4, which happens to be on there. So that's the purpose of that day. The event's going to run from 12 to 4 p.m. At Hank Bryant Park. We'll have some music as well as food and information that we'll be handing out to the public during that time.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Also, we want to recognize our firefighters who are in the back of the room. You guys stand up for me. I think you guys were here for item F on the agenda as it relates to a couple fire engines. For those who don't know, those guys were recently called out to deal with a chemical fire and a very difficult task. But because of your training, your expertise, and commitment, you guys were able to sustain that fire and really minimize the amount of damage that took place out there. And again, we want to thank you guys and Chief for your leadership. It's because you have on your white shirt.
You don't get it very often.
Captain Devin, make sure you watch his time.
I promise I won't take 3 minutes. But today's crew is actually here that was on that fire that day. As time goes by, you can look back in your career and say one place that you don't ever want to go to a fire, and that was the exact place these guys got to go that day. It was bad from the word go. If it wasn't for the 6 gentlemen that are here today, we could have had catastrophic loss. I mean, there's a lot of danger in that place. They arrived, found a significant amount of fire. Some of our units were already on other calls through the city, so 2 of them went out there, the first 2 there, Lieutenant Smith and firefighter Young standing around the corner. They arrived to find about 50% of a building engulfed in fire that had chemicals inside of it. And basically, the 2 of them had it knocked out in about less than 5 minutes. So they just did an absolutely fantastic job. They stepped in the face of fear. We had a debriefing with the state fire marshal's office because somebody called and said that we did some things that we shouldn't have done. That all went fine. They told us that we should have made sure all the people were out and left it. But these guys chose to stand in the face of fear and extinguish the chemical plant. So I can't thank them enough. They did a fantastic job. They had the emergency done the time I got there. So I can't thank them enough for all the efforts they put in that day. They did a fantastic job.
Sure. I'm not used to seeing Bradford in street clothes in the back. I also want to make sure before we get to our next item, I want to make sure I recognize City Commissioner Kathy Johnson from Havana, who just kind of snuck in the back of the room. Stand up so we can go up and Item J on our consent agenda. Item J, Porch Fest Palatka Music Festival, December 1st, 2018, from 11 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. South Historic Neighborhood Association is the applicant. Item 1 is to grant permission to exceed allowable noise levels for amplified music on porches throughout the duration of the event. Item 2 is to grant permission to sell alcoholic beverages and to allow their consumption throughout the South Historic District throughout the duration of the event. And 3 is to grant permission to close certain streets as noted on the site plan bounded by Morris, Emmett, and Kirkland Streets. At this time, I'm going to ask both chiefs if you would come forward for me. Chief, as it relates to this event, do you have any concerns from a safety standpoint?
Thank you.
Mayor, we have met with the applicant. We have vetted all of the issues that were brought up previously, and along with the newly submitted application, he has graciously met our request, and we were pleased to move forward with this portion of the application concerning our part as far as the Special Events Committee. The other items that are on the agenda today lie before the board to approve for approval July to be forwarding and going with the event.
Thank you, sir. Chief Grimes.
Yeah, everything that we had concerns with, Mr. Russo hit in the special events meeting as far as cooking food and keeping everything contained inside a specific area. I think it's sticking all in place across the street from Hammock Hall.
Same side of the street.
Same side of the street. So, I mean, he got all that stuff done with all the vendors. He has everything done from inspecting, so I was good with everything he had.
Mr. Russo, can you come up for me and give us a 3-minute synopsis?
I can do it in 3 minutes. So the purpose of the music festival that we're organizing is to pull this community together as much as we possibly can. So we are going to have local musicians being put on these the South Historic neighborhood porches, and they're going to play a wide range of music genre. And that's the key to what we're trying to do. Because if we're going to pull the community together, we must play the music that all of our neighborhoods listen to. So we'll be playing everything from bluegrass to country to hip hop to jazz, reggae, Latino, and we even have a zydeco band. So that's Cajun music. So we're going to cordon off the core of the South Historic neighborhood, and then we're going to basically use Hammock Hall as the information center, and adjacent to Hammock Hall is about 3 lots, city-owned lots. We're going to bring as many of the vendors as we can into this area. So we're going to have about 5 different food vendors, but then we're also going to pull in community organizations like the Conley House, the Humane Society, American Legion Hall, Health Department, et cetera, et cetera. So we are going to make a very strong effort to pull the community together as much as we can. The South Historic Neighborhood Association is organizing this event, and we have been in constant contact with Jacksonville's Springfield Historic District, and they have been gracious with us in mentoring us and giving us the benefit of their experience. So we should have a good chance to have a very smooth run event.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the commission?
Yes, I got one question. Alcohol sales, right?
Yes, we're going to sell beer and wine.
Right. How the city gonna get the taxes off of it? I'm just messing.
That is what I wasn't prepared to answer.
And about how many officers are you planning on having there, Vito?
Ma'am?
About how many officers are you?
Chief Shaw indicated that we're going to hire 5 police officers. So we're going to use the same control mechanism that Springfield Historic District does with the way they handle the alcohol sales, and we will have 5 police officers roaming the streets, basically free to check any of the young kids that might be trying to scam us.
Okay.
So, Mr. What we did is we looked at the time frame that they had for the event. We met with Mr. Russo, and we reduced the size of the event of the map, restricting it to a certain area that didn't allow any major roadways or anything like that to be an issue for public safety. By reducing it, we were able to secure that we could block off those roadways and manage the event in the same fashion that we looked at managing one shift of the Blue Crab event. So we looked at it under that same format, and that's what we went with the 5 officers to be able to run the event.
Thank you. Any further questions?
No further
All right, hearing a motion.
motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor by the Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner McCaskill. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions called, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Again, thank you, gentlemen. I can hear you, Mr. Russo. Moving the agenda. Item 4, update, discussion, and direction, riverfront development parcels. Mr. Griffin.
Yes, sir. As I believe all of you are aware, there are some buyback provisions within the two development agreements for the redevelopment projects across the street. The contracts were included in the packet. And one of them, we know SHP is coming up this summer, and we need some direction from the commission as to if you would prefer us to budget for that in the end-of-year budget projection. For the buyback, it's approximately $32,000, not including closing costs. I believe Mr. Holmes had a chance to review the agreements and may want to add some comments to that.
Okay, we have to notify by July 23. If you wish to purchase that, you have to effect the purchase within 60 days thereafter. Meaning next month, July 23, meaning your purchase would have to be accomplished by
And that's for which property?
SHP, the hotel property. When we met with Sanjay about it, yeah. When we met with Mr. Patel about the hotel owner.
What about the other property? The property across the street.
The other property, I haven't looked at it in depth. My understanding is that time frame may already be passed, though. I think there's a question about when a deed was recorded, but I haven't looked at that in depth.
Can we get that back on the agenda for the next meeting?
Sure. Sure.
What's the pleasure of the commission as it relates to this property?
That would be the parcel that, for those of you who don't know, Jonathan, you might explain where that property is.
Yes, sir. That is at the southwest corner of Memorial Parkway and St. John's Avenue. It's a triangular-shaped parcel, approximately 0.3 acres, adjacent to the Hampton Inn.
Across the street from it's the grassy area across the street from the River Center. My suggestion is that we budget to reclaim those properties based upon the contract. Any other comments from the commission? Thoughts or concerns?
Motion approved. I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve it, and approve the budget.
There's a motion for the. So is your motion to is there a motion to direct staff to place in the budget line item for recapture of properties?
Can we do to budget and to purchase?
To budget and the purchase.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to ask staff to place a line item in the budget to purchase, budget and purchase the properties, and said properties.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion on the floor, second. Any further discussion?
Just a question of how quickly that money would be available, so I'll know when to send a letter. Like I said, it has to be by July 23 that the letter is sent. Not to quibble over it, I'll probably want to go ahead and have it out at least a week earlier so that it's received by July 23. So that would be my last date. I've got 60. You have 60 days from that date to close.
If you go ahead and send a letter, then it gives us, we'd have to do a budget amendment within this fiscal year, so we've got time to do it at least before then.
All right.
To deal with it.
Also, just keep in mind that we can't overlap it, so we can pay for a portion out of this year's budget, a portion out of next year's budget, and we don't have to just take it from the general fund either.
Okay. Because it sits in the central. Okay.
So we're fine. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 5 of the agenda. City Manager and Administrative Reports. Chief Grimes. Chief Shaw. Seeing none from Chief Shaw. Mr. Griffin. Chief, you got anything? You have anything? We already passed you. You got your gun on, so come on. You go after Mr. Griffin since he's already here.
I'll be quick. We distributed a project update tonight. I understand it's kind of last minute. We have pared that down to only include projects that are ongoing or completed within this fiscal year. Obviously, you're probably going to have some questions. So please email myself and Mr. Bolson, and we'll get you those answers as quick as possible.
So, any questions about projects right now?
No, it's always good to have.
Is that what you wanted? Is that what you wanted, Commissioner?
Yes, sir. It's always good to have in case we interact with the community. They might want to know what we're working on. We can always be somewhat knowledgeable of what's happening.
I want you guys to know baseball is up and running. It's one of the projects that's listed on there. July 7th, we'll do our kickoff for baseball. And we'll bring it back to the commission. Chief Shaw.
Just wanted to let the commission know that starting this past Monday, we started our summer camp, our 8th summer camp at CLO Church 6th grade center. Currently, our enrollment is reaching either at 90 or over 90 kids. We are looking forward to continue to rise within the end of this week and next week. Last check on the enrollment was on Tuesday morning, so I'm pretty sure it has continued to grow all week. There's a lot of fun field activities and educational activity that's going on at the camp. We do have a culinary arts program, as I discussed before. We have educational employers on staff, so it's going to be helping do a tutoring program as far as our computer lab and things of that nature. Also wanted to touch base on an event that we had in conjunction with DJJ that was over at Triangle Park, the Success Day. It was a very big event. Multiple agencies throughout our region came out to support the event, helped provide a fun day for the kids. We had a kickball contest, kickball game, double dutch contest. We had the bicycle safety unit out there. We did provided multiple booths for information from different organizations and barbecue for the kids as well, all on a very hot afternoon or morning or afternoon. So it was a very successful event, and it appeared in the paper last weekend. So just two events that we were able to get complete, or an event was able to get completed, and summer camp was able to kick off within the last week, which is something that we're very proud of so far.
And Chief, just to reiterate, great job by you and your staff as well as the PAL organization. Just to reiterate, what you see our stats for this year?
We are at a -9%. UCR stat changed a little bit. Several months ago, I came to you and told you we had a double-digit decrease in UCR. There was a change in UCR reporting on how we reported, but it didn't affect us but slightly. We had a -9. We are one of 3 communities that were able to sustain such a large decrease and are continuing to move forward. We believe that we will be able to sustain that, although we are finding some different things with our reporting system, but it's catching things that we wouldn't have seen in the past. And again, with any new reporting system, we find that we see things now more clearly than we did before. So we're able to, again, disperse our men and women to places that are troubled areas within the community a little bit faster and identify problems a little bit quicker.
Testament to your leadership, as well as we're glad that Smart Cop is working and doing some great things for you.
Right. One other thing to say about the chief, he was guilty of working on their accreditation. I saw him in an area, I won't say where they were, but I'd like to thank him and appreciate what they're doing as far as accreditation, keeping it moving forward. Certainly an awesome job that you guys are doing. Certainly appreciate all you do.
I thought you were about to say you saw him in the double dutch. Any other comments, Commissioner?
I did win the double dutch contest.
Commissioner Campbell, can you vouch for it? Moving on. Ms. Triggers.
I'll let you talk about the Great American the Palatka Pride. Clean it up, read it up. We were all there. I did attend the conference, yes. Florida Association of City Clerks. I was sworn as the Florida Association of City Clerks Northeast Director for the board.
You're gonna let that slide by, huh? Congratulations. Ms. Becker.
Hello.
Okay, in your packets, we have a budget and brief. It is as of May 31st, 2018. If you have any specific questions, let me know. I had to, there's one that you'll see highlighted on the side, the golf course. I did have to adjust those figures. My lookups weren't working correctly, apparently, just for the golf course though. Just to give you a couple of highlights, the airport, you'll notice the percentages look a little funky. It's just because we have some expenditures for approved grants. However, the disbursement of the grant revenues have not been realized yet. Let's see, there's in the utility fund, sanitation, TIF, utility, TIF, and Better Place, same scenarios. We're having expenditures hit before the approved grants are allocated or dispersed. So I am actually meeting with Mr. Griffith and Ms. Tucker tomorrow to work through some of these things or questions that I have regarding these figures. Golf course, we're reviewing their financial statements that they're sending over monthly to determine when we should begin our collecting our share of their revenues. So that was placed in the contract. We had a 20% after they received X amount of dollars. And I believe that's it. That's all the highlights for the budget. I want to just note that the email that I sent out on Monday is just to get an idea of where you are thinking, what direction you're wanting to move Palatka in. That way I can help align the budget or be thinking whenever we meet with you all. I believe, thinking through a strategic priority importance to me, and some advice that I can give is that number one, ensure that there is obtainable. Make sure that when you're thinking about your goals that we have staff in place to achieve these goals, that the time frame is achievable, and that the fiscal ability is there, or either we work with you with that. Also, just the second one is that it's measurable, that we can track from the beginning, the middle, and the end. And either after that, we want to make sure that your priorities, your goals have a lasting effect on the city. So that is it. That's all I have for you tonight.
Any questions? Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes.
I have an important announcement. My grandson's t-ball team is playing at the Palatka All-Star Tournament in Gainesville. I just got word that they beat Melrose. Game was called when they got 10 runs ahead. So your Palatka team won its first game of the tournament.
Posted.
John, you anything?
I'm sorry, I
Sorry. Update on a project. We got a fixing project that was supposed to have started a couple of months ago, right when the rainy season started hitting us. In fact, the southwest quadrant of the airport, very, very wet over by West Marshall Boulevard and 309C area. Water really flows through there. Stand to go for quite a number of months. The company got to contract is evaluating on a monthly basis now. We're hoping for a dry season to be able to get back into the swamp, but that project may take longer than we expected. I want to update you in case anybody asks about that project.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Mr. Poston.
Thank you, John. Just a couple of things to reiterate. Strategic planning, we sent out that email to kind of get your guidance. Just keep in mind that at this stage, the budget, if you will, is in our hands. But once we present the budget to you, then it's in your hands to do it as you see fit. At the same time, though, I would like to craft it in a way that kind of encompasses a lot of the things that you as individual commissioners, you as a board want to see. So there's less to have to change and do once you do get it. So keep that in mind. Make sure you get that back to us. I think we're looking for that to be back by Friday the 22nd. So make sure you get us back that by Friday the 22nd. It's 22nd of this month. Those strategic goals and strategies. I want to say congratulations to the Chief, Shaw, for those crime rate statistics. It is a testament to his leadership and really his staff and what they've been able to do in terms of providing quality service here to the citizens in the city of Palatka, as well as the leadership of this board in terms of the direction we want to see those things come to place, and then putting in financing to be able to make sure those things are attainable. I want to thank Chief Grimes, and thank you as a board and commission for allowing us to be able to determine how we're going to fund fire engines. We have a serious issue in our fire fleet in terms of just outdated trucks, and really the maintenance cost was getting out of control. So we're appreciative that you guys will look at that and support the firemen and that we have here in the city of Palatka. So thank you guys so much for all the work you do. And you've seen tonight firsthand the commitment that this commission has had and will continue to have for the fire department. So thank you guys for that. I do want to mention that I'm probably going to need an extension on moving into the city. I got several realtors looking. Me and my wife did find a house, but the price is just well above what I've been told the house is worth. So we are looking at building. We are looking at plots of land within the city to build. I may at some point have to get with Don to see whether or not this is even legal for me to do in terms of purchasing one of the lots that the city owns, but we'll talk about that at a later date to see if I can put something on it. But we are looking, so I want to let you know that well in advance so you guys are aware. Just so you know, me and my wife are still moving in our house the end of July. So I'm going to have to figure something out quickly. We're moving out the end of July no matter what. Another thing I want to just mention is baseball, July the 7th. Please make sure you tell as many people as you can. From a city's perspective, we're going to make sure we get it out to the paper. We're going to need your help in terms of getting the word out. Everyone's social media. We're going to buy yard signs and things like that to make sure that we're advertising for baseball coming back to the city of Palatka. We're working on the fields right now to make sure those get caught up and where they need to be at to make sure we're prepared for a kickoff. I'll let the mayor talk about that major kickoff event that we're talking about trying to do to initiate baseball. Baseball is coming back to the city of Palatka, and we're going to push that here in the very near future. The other thing is that I just want you to keep mindful of the summer schedule that we approved in the consent agenda in terms of when we're going to have meetings, when we're not going to have meetings. I definitely want to make sure you're aware of that. I'm excited you guys support that. I think not only should you have time with your families, but also time to kind of get away from the numbers and get away from the city and clear your mind and head so that you can come back fresh once you have that budget document in your hand. Other than that, the vice mayor is doing extremely well. I think I saw her basically days after she got out of the hospital and she was up walking around. So she's doing extremely well. So thank you for everybody that may have been praying or thinking about her. She's doing very well, and I think she's going to be back with us sooner rather than later. So just wanted to point those things out, and that is all that I have on my list for tonight.
Commissioner Campbell, you can probably be the one who can attest to some of the housing woes that people have there.
I understand. So I was one that would have been paid before extended because I'm in the process of looking for a house and I'm running into the same errors that you're running into. That's one of the things that we hope in the near future or in the years to come that it won't be a problem.
Good thing is we're starting to see people build homes now. We're starting to see home sales go up and home values go up. So unfortunately for you buyers, the market is changing just a little bit, but I think it's still a great time to purchase a home in Palatka. Commissioner McCaskill, you have anything for us tonight?
No, just have a question. If we're able to get this right here, this yes, electronically or on our website for our citizens to be able to see. Okay, that's it.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Campbell.
Yes, we are coming to an end of our first week with our interns on board. I can step out on the limb and say that they are really, really getting a hands-on experience. Had a couple conversation with Ms. Becker, where she is giving our intern actual projects to work on, and he's proving himself within that department. Chief Grimes, I get pictures every day about one of our interns that are there. He's really getting his hand on the experience. Kudos to our HR director, Ms. Robinson, for putting up with me during this process, because it is our desire to make sure that we are able to provide our citizens, our youth, the opportunity to leave Palatka with workforce experience, or leave high school and college with that the minimum experience to have on their resume. So we are super excited about that. We're doing college tours. We have a tour actually set up for Monday of St. John's River Community College. We do have Bethune-Cookman that is actually coming to pick us up, take us around their campus, and bring us back to Palatka. Bethune-Cookman College is really trying to play a pivotal role in academic success here in Palatka, and we are eternally grateful for that opportunity. Other than that, we're good.
Question, we get a few calls about high school students who need volunteer hours as well. Should we direct that to you or to Ms. Robinson?
Between me and Ms. Robinson, we're quite sure that we can find them some kind of place to go. We're hoping that with that help, the police department will kick in and provide that opportunity, hopefully with Chief Grimes in the fire department, who's always, both departments make themselves available for anything that we ask. And that actually ends my comments. I want to thank staff for everything that I've asked, being so diligent in getting it into us. I've asked Attorney Holmes, I've asked City Manager Mr. Folston, I've asked several things, Ms. Logan, everybody. I asked of a lot, and everything that I've asked them to do, they've gotten to me within hours, if not a day later. So I appreciate you all for being so diligent to make sure that any requests that I have, any questions that I have, that you all answer without any problems. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have one question. You brought up a good point about the volunteer hours. Are the students able to do that outside of the yes, after that's over?
They got volunteer hours built into their internship program.
Okay, but after that's over, you don't.
One of the projects that the interns are doing, which is going to be based on community project, is they are branding Palatka through their eyes. A lot of you may have seen something that Georgia Pacific put out about Palatka. It went viral locally. So the interns are tasked with branding Palatka in their eyes, which at the end of their internship, they are going to present to the City Commission.
Thank you. Job well done. Thank you. Anything else? I saw the educator come out just then.
Yeah.
Commissioner Board.
I have no comments today.
Why did
I
you go
said
fast?
twice. June 14th, 6:57.
I am shocked.
Again, baseball's kickoff. It's also baseball and softball. We got a surprise visit in from Major League Baseball's Restoring Baseball in the Inner City program. They came in with additional baseball bats and uniforms. We got several bags of uniforms and hats for kids. The Tampa Bay Rays team, they're the sponsor of their league. They brought us down a number of uniforms that should sustain us for our entire fall season, which again goes back to savings for our citizens. We're definitely grateful to them for all the support that they've given us throughout this endeavor. That kickoff will be a kickoff which allows everyone who's participated in Little League Baseball to come back out to give video testimony of what baseball has meant to them, the relationships, the moments, as well as softball. We reflected back, there were over 30 girls softball teams in the mid 80s, 70s to 80s, which encompassed pigtail, ponytail league, as well as some t-ball leagues. And so we're bringing that back as an opportunity really to galvanize the community as a whole. August 7th is the targeted date for the kickoff. July 7th is the date for the kickoff. August 4th is our date set thus far for tryouts for baseball. We will be at Frederick Park, and it will be a continuous celebration. There will be some skills competitions as well for those of you who still think you can actually play baseball. Outside of that, one of the things that I've really been thinking about, and I want the commission to think about this as well as staff, is our Price Martin Center. I had Ms. Becker give me some numbers as to what we receive for facility rentals from the Price Martin. And we've received over the last year $12,425 for that facility in rentals. And typically the rentals from the Price Martin are on the weekends, primarily Friday or Saturday. So that leaves the facility empty throughout the week. And I believe that the Price Martin Center should truly be a community center, and it should house community programs through the weeks. We don't have a place where many community organizations can come and be able to use the facility in the same way. And I think we need to strategically think about opportunities to get more use out of the center for community organizations, whether that's by way of an RFP for services, or that's to create additional opportunities for smaller organizations that cannot necessarily afford to use that facility to be able to provide some services to our kids. Having a facility similar to the Price Martin that's empty most of the days is just not conducive to what we're doing from a community programming standpoint. I've watched this commission continually be committed to our citizens, and there's an excellent opportunity for us to do things. We constantly get calls about youth groups that use the riverfront or practice outside or do other things, and we've got an empty facility. We need to think of ways in which we can allow the citizens to get in and see our tax dollars really go to work. So that's kind of the food for thought of what we got at this point. That concludes my report.